lot of jobs, I had a number of careers. I started out as teaching tennis first, and I was also played professional tennis briefly, highly ranked as a junior tennis player, and I went to college and I played on the tennis team with a scholarship, but then I tried to play professional tennis for a period of time. Didn't do very well, it's hard. And then I started teaching tennis initially. I taught tennis at a number of different places, including the National Tennis Center where the US Open's played. In my mid-20s, I started to go to NYU, New York University, to get my master's in journalism. I started to be a reporter, a newspaper reporter, journalist, and I did that for about 3.5 to 4 years or so. As I was doing journalism, I started to write jokes. And I said, well, that's I guess maybe I should see if I can do stand-up comedy.
Oh, no.
And I did stand-up comedy for about 6 years. I actually started getting paid at a certain point. I worked with a lot of famous comics. Jim Gaffigan was a comic I used to do open mics with. Then I was going back and forth between tennis and journalism. I was working for a banking newspaper down in Wall Street area, daily newspaper called The American Banker, and 9/11 hit, because I was writing actually about how money moves through, how the money moves through different ATMs and POS terminals. During that period of time, money was not moving very well because all those buildings there were destroyed. Like writing about all these companies that are going under, I'm thinking, how much longer do I have before I go under? And sure enough, sometime in October of 2008, I was let go. Now I'm about 48, and I decided to go back into teaching tennis, and I did I was teaching tennis in New Jersey. The owner at the time knew Novak Djokovic, who was the #1 player in the world at the time, and so every once in a while he'd open the door and there would be the #1 player in the world. It's kind of cool. Physically, it's not mentally difficult, but physically very, very difficult. And I started to have injuries, particularly with my wrist. I just started to devolve. I kept getting emotional about it. So, I had a depression. So I went into a very deep depression. But luckily, I had a friend of mine who said, New Age, or a life coach, I'm going to call him a life coach. And I went to this life coach. I said, well, you teach tennis and you're a writer. Well, you can be a teacher. I said, really? So I said, okay. I ended up getting into CCNY and for their education program, and I got a couple of years, I guess. I was teaching tennis part-time, working, and I got my degree. Teaching is a very complicated thing. It's I respect people's the process of it. It's so difficult, and it's endless time. Around 5:15, 5:20 in the morning. Feed the dog, walk the dog. During breakfast, I go over my lesson plans, and the presentation, and it's just like a class after class after class, hopefully, being ready and being prepared. I work very closely with my two teachers, Dr. Fink and Miss Lessam, who I think are fantastic. I'm in my 65th year, so I'd probably be retired. I'm hoping to write. I want to write. I've written a couple of books, but I haven't been published. But I've written everything. I've written plays, short stories, novels. I wrote a musical once with a friend of mine who's a musician. I've written a lot of stuff. Of course, I've written literally thousands of news articles. So, yeah, that's what I want to do. I just think that, this isn't the idea about education, and I think that the only way if you want to get good at something, you have to kind of become obsessive about it. You have to do it to the level of obsession, and so you're really, really good at it. You may not be great at it. Some people who obsess over something become great at it, and then they become famous. That's anybody you see that's famous, like a musician or an artist or an actor. They're just constantly thinking about that, and they're obsessed with that, and they work at it.
Language. Oh no, Mr. Breitkopf, not language again. You're always talking about language.
Language is a tool, a wrench to tighten the seal of the leaky pipe of communication. But it's also the pipe itself, spilling the endless misunderstanding between us and ruining the carpet. A tool, but even more so, a tulip swaying in the breeze before a spring rain, lightning against the darkening sky, revealing an instant of insight. On a summer day, dive into it and swim out beyond the small talk breakers where you make hope on the choppy words before learning to submerge meaning and sound. How does it grow in us, this tangle of roots, tricking us with its tongue? How does it grow? How many times did my mother kiss me with my name before I knew I was David?
Yeah.
I have tried my best. Seriously, I have tried my best to toss to you what you already hold. This invisible ball of language. Forgive me if at times I am too short, or simply out of reach. Thank you.